That is great. That is great. Now, this is some class for bed 4:30, and I believe that so far the link of the class have sent to our email yesterday. I'll be expecting that we have students. The students that have registered for this course, they are more than this. They are more than this. We are expecting more to join our class. Now, because of the number, that's good. You're welcome, Mrs. Aminat Folake. You are welcome. I can see you. Mr. Julius, you can unmute yourself so that I will know that you are really here. That's great. Okay. Mrs. Folake, you are welcome as well. So today's lesson will just be an introduction to the lesson, and we take ourselves through what we are going to learn for this course, how we are going to, the best way at which we can achieve our lesson, and what are the requirements. The next I'm sorry, it's internet problem. Let's quickly go straight to the point. Today's lesson is just, oh, I can see Mr. Michael Julius, you are welcome. Oh, that's great. So, like, the course is paid 4:30, and we know that paid is primary education course, and it's very, very important to ourselves. So at this level, we are familiar with first courses, and this one is compulsory, and it is 2 units. So let me share my screen so that you'll be able to see some of these things that I'm trying to say. My name is Dr. Badmos. Can you see my screen now? Mrs. Folake, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
That's great. That's great. Mr. Julius, you can unmute yourself so that I can hear you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Exactly, sir.
Oh, that's great. Mrs. Robiat, you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
That's great. So once again, my name is Dr. Admos from National Open University Headquarters. I'll be taking you for this PED 4:30, and the course is design and production of learning materials. I can hear some background though. If you have background in your place, you can unmute. So when there is any contribution, you can unmute yourself. Oh, that's great. I think it's Julius. Now, the course is design and production of learning materials for primary school. So we are familiar ourselves, even during the time of when we were taking educational technology, we are familiar with all these learning materials. But for today's lesson, this is what we are going to do. That is our learning objective. You know, as a teacher, as you are going to this class, you should be able to plan ahead. You should have certain things that you achieve at the end of the lesson. That's why you are saying learning objective. For today's lesson is focus ourselves to introduce this course to ourselves. So that's what we are going to do. Because I can see that we have almost 200 students, but we are having just 6 now. So I believe that by next week, we have a larger class. So let us just do a kind of introduction today. Now, for this lesson, we introduce to ourselves this course, then objectives of this course particularly, we like to know so that at the end of the day, we know what the expectation from us so that we pass exam very well. Then what we learn in this course, we are going to spread them out to ourselves so that we know and we'll be focused. So what are the study units? The study unit, they are the contents, information that are required for us. You know, in the classroom, we have the body of the information, that is the content. We spread them out as well, so that we're able to see where to read in our course materials and in our e-library. So how to get the best or most from this course. So I will let you know as well. So that let's go to the class and see what you have for us today. Now, PED 430, what is it all about? Mrs. Robiat, what can you say about generally primary education? In just brief something, primary education. What meant by primary education?
By primary education, sir.
And like, you know, primary education, we know what is really mean. I just want a kind of interactive section between us. What can you say about the primary education?
It's about education for all.
Good, good. I just like that, education for all. So this
Yes,
is
it's education for all.
education for us. It means that it is compulsory, right?
Yes.
So Mrs. Aminat, can you say anything about that?
The primary education is for children between the age of 0 to 18.
To 18.
To like 10, 12, like that.
That's okay. I want you to believe that I want you to believe that we have primary education, we have kindergarten and other things like that. That is, are you getting me now? So like it is education for all, and it has make it compulsory. That's why they refer it to as basic education. Are you getting me now? And the age for this one, that is the structure of primary education, is between six to what, Mrs. Obiat?
Primary education,
And
it's between 6 to 12.
6 to 12.
12.
6 to 12.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So nowadays, I think we can have kindergarten class, all those ones, early childhood. I get me now. So that
Yes.
one between the age of 2 to 4 to 6.
2, 4.
So that
Yes.
is great. So this has opened our eyes that primary education, universally, primary education is compulsory and education for all. So that's
Yes.
just it. So what are the things as a primary educators? What are the necessary things that will make this learning more effective, more efficient? That is why this 430, you know, PED 430, that is the focus. So it will expose us to know certain skills that allow us to produce or design learning materials. So it's just a reflection of what we have already learned in educational technology, and technology where we were exposed to learning materials, instructional materials. So, but there are some certain things we go into deep of it. That is why this PED 430, it is important. When we talk about teaching and learning, we know teaching, that is a process of imparting knowledge where learning is acquiring knowledge. And as a teacher, we already, definition of teacher is a somebody that have acquired certain skills. And if the person is ready to disseminate or transfer that knowledge to another person. I get me now. The person
Yes.
is ready. I get that is a teacher. It's not by force. The person, the acquired knowledge that that you have already acquired, that's a teacher. You are ready
Now
transfer it to another person. That is it. That makes that person a teacher. So that is a teaching. Teaching is a process which involved or operate in a classroom. So, but learning is a process of acquiring knowledge from a person that have acquired that knowledge. That's a teacher. So how can we make this teaching and learning more effective? That is the focus, particularly in the primary school. So that is why this PED 430 is very, very important. It's all about primary education and instructional materials, primary education and instructional materials. So many courses we have exposed to, like method of teaching. That one is another aspect of primary education. But this one
Education.
also is another aspect which we need to know more about it. So let me tell you why this thing is here. I mean, the course is important is that like what you have in technology is broad, but taking it narrowly to primary education is that we have different type of students at the primary school. We have students from different background, their exposure. If you want to know how teachers work, go to primary school. Unlike in secondary school, because the students there, they are already mature, they are somehow adult. Are you getting me now? But at the
Yes.
primary school, to handle them is a big task. To know what they want, to know how to take care about them, to know whether they understand or not, is a big task. That is why we need to have to ourselves or have this necessary material, skills that enable us to deliver very well in the classroom. That is the focus. We cannot just go to the class with our lesson notes and teach. No, let me give you an example now. If you are to teach science, wild animal,
Yeah.
and you are talking about snake, lion, crocodile, and other things, and you want to at least show to the student the sample of this wild animal, and you go to the class with a snake toy. I get it now. That's
Yes.
so by the time you take it out and show to this, give it to the student, depending on the level or age of the student. We have some students at the kindergarten or primary one. They will be scared when they see that toy. I don't know whether you've seen that toy. It's like this. It's moving like this. I get me now. If you show it to
Yes.
them, they'll be scared to touch it. It's just because of their level and the age. But if you show it to the secondary student, they will ask you to bring it and do it very well with you. I get me now.
Yes.
So that is level. So these students, they are heterogeneous. We'll talk about that one later, because and
Okay.
the individual differences is also there. So another one that we need to know is why designing and producing of these learning materials, because we need to know this type of students. We need to know the one that can assimilate very quickly. We need to know the one that assimilates rapidly, and we need to know the donut among them. So that by the time we identify all this, we talk with their parents and they assist them for students to learn very well. So we need to, while designing, all these questions, we answer it when we move forward in the class. Now, what are the objectives of this course? At the end of this course, as a student, you should be able to, one, you should be able to discuss the need for learning materials in the primary school. The need for learning materials in the primary school. Like primary school, like what you said, education for all, there are some basic things that students will need to know. If you are familiar with the curriculum of primary school, we have science, for all these basic science, all there are many. I get me now. So
Yeah.
not go to the class abstractly without going there with let's say from materials. If you are talking about tuber to the primary school student, and the tuber, we have yam, we have cassava, we have coconut, we have which one again? There are different type of tuber. Are you get me now? And they have
Yes.
the same texture. What do you call it? The same pattern in drawing them. So you cannot go to the class with this, but with drawing. You have to go to the class with a sample of this tuber so that they will definitely know that this one is cassava, this one is cocoyam, this one is tuber,
Okay.
another one. Are you getting me now? Because if you draw them, they might
Yes.
look alike. They might be, okay, what you draw here, is it the same thing with the cassava and the yam? So That's where we need to know about this because of their levels. Now, another one, at the end of the day, we should be able to discuss learning as the main benefit of education. As the main benefit of education. Let me tell you, when you teach and there's no learning, when you teach and at the end of the day, you ask students the question of what you've taught them and they don't give you answer, you have not taught at all. So learning is very, very important, and we're going to teach them how to get this right. So another objective of this course is that we should be able to list and explain the different classification or characteristics of learning materials available. I told you the other time that we have different categories of students. We have students that are deaf, we have students that are blind, we have handicapped students, we have snow learner students, we have Dotland in the class, we have so many type of students. So all of this, by know these categories of students, you're able to provide to them the appropriate instructional materials can benefit them, can assist them to learn better. So that is that. Now, another thing that is very important to know at the end of this course is we should be able to follow the principles. We should be able to follow the principles or models of products. Design and development to design simple learning materials. The meaning of this is that before you embark on designing some materials, there are some procedure and principles to be followed. This procedure, there are guidelines that will assist us to draw a good instructional materials. You cannot say you want to go and teach and you need some materials. You need to have guidelines. What are the basic things that require from you? So these things, they are very, very important to acquire, to have and follow. So the next one now that we need to know at the end of this lesson is coming, okay? That we should be able to describe the production guidelines for learning materials. The first one I mentioned is design, the guideline for designing.
Yes.
This one is production guidelines. Now, what mean by design and what mean by production? We're familiar with the architecture. Then they will have templates, and after the template, that is what you call prototype. So after the prototype, they will now go to the field to execute it. The same thing with ourselves. If you are to design or want to go to the class and teach, we need to first of all think what are the things required from us before we have these instructional materials. That is design. Production is to put things together. As a woman in the kitchen, you want to cook maybe jollof rice. Now you have your ingredients. Once you have it in your mind that you want to cook jollof rice, you will start thinking of what you put together. You will be asking yourself, do I have this one at home? Do I have curry? Do I have Maggi? Do I have ororo? Do I have a vegetable? All kinds of things like that. These are the designing stage. But production stage is when you are putting them together. So before going for the production, we need to follow the guidelines. So at the end of this course, we should be able to know this, the guideline for production of learning materials. The next one is we should be able to outline and illustrate. We should be able to outline and illustrate by describing the planning procedure for applying learning materials effectively in the classroom. There are 3 stages in using instructional materials. The first one is design. The second one is produce, that is production. And the third one is application. And this is application now. How to use what we have produced in the classroom. That is application. So on doing this, we'll be able to know, to outline the steps and illustrate. So this procedure for applying learning materials effectively in the classroom. let me tell you, there are 3 ways at which we can use instruction materials in the classroom. You can use instruction materials before the lesson. You can use learning materials during the lesson, and you can use instruction materials to evaluate the student. That is after the lesson. Before the lesson is that, because I'm talking about procedure of using learning materials. So we should be able to know this. I'm just buttressing my point here. That is why it is important. Before the lesson, when you enter into the class, you can take instruction materials out, even if you have not taught the lesson. Like you have, maybe your lesson topic is vegetable now or fruit, and you have fruit in your bag or somewhere that you've packed them. You can take the fruit out and show it to the student. What is this? Can someone tell me the name of this? Are you get me now? You use some materials before the lesson. Why this thing? Sorry. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
The Zoom is telling me that this thing will close by 10 in the next 10 minutes. When it closes, I will quickly join again. Okay, don't go off. Okay, so let's
All right.
continue. Now,
It's okay.
you can use some materials before the lesson by show it to the student and, oh, can someone tell me the name of this? Even if you have not told them, though, but by giving you the name, from there you know the entry behavior, the entry point of the student. Oh, they've seen this thing before. You just go straight to the point. Then you can use it to buttress your point during the lesson. And as well, you can use it to evaluate the student. All these things, they are very, very important. These are the procedure that we need to know. Now, the next one is we should be able to list the essential skills required by the teacher to design and produce effective learning materials. Apart from know the procedure, there are some skills that you need to know. So before we finish this lesson, all these skills, you should know them and identify them. The skill to able to draw, the skill to paste, if you have the some materials, how to place it on the wall in the classroom. All these things, they are very, very important. And you should be able to show it to us that you know them. Now, the next one is you should be able to explain the various learning style, and the theories of learning and the application at the classroom level. So the various learning style, we have so many type of learning style. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to know them. But let me quickly give it to you. We have teacher-student learning style, where the teacher is teaching and students are listening. We have student-student, where the student, you group the student into 2 or 4, so many ways, and you ask them to teach themselves. So that is teachers and student-student. We have student-teacher, student-to-teacher style, where you give student assignment and come to this class and teach you. Not that they are teaching you, you listen to them. So we have so many styles. So at the end of this lesson, you'll be able to know them. And then the theory of learning. We have so many theory of learning that are relevant in the use of learning materials. We have constructivisms, we have behaviorisms, we have connectivisms, we have cognitivism. There are so many. So we talk about them and you know them. So this theory, that they are applicable in the classroom. So the application of all this what I mentioned in the classroom, they are very, very important. And we expose ourselves on how to use them and how to identify which one that is appropriate to ourselves. Let me give as an example, learning style now. Learning style, maybe you have been using teachers to students. You are the one teaching. In the classroom, you can change it to student teacher. Maybe a student is not focused on what you are teaching, is not cooperating. You can ask the student a question and supply you answer. Listen to the student, listen to sort of student, that is student to teacher. So from the theory too, the theory of constructivism, which believe that student centers is very, very important. So you should allow students also to contribute in the classroom. So by doing this, you can make use of learning materials to support you and get that one. After you've taught them, you can place your learning materials on the wall, classroom chalkboard, and ask the student to come out and maybe pointing to certain information. So that is student-centered. So, and then how to use them is very, very important. I'm just trying to explain all these things. These are the expectation from you, from this course. So what you will learn in this course, what we will learn in this course. Now, in this course, we are going to learn design. You are going to learn design. And under this, there are some questions that we need to ask ourselves. So if it is, you can ask me, you said design. Why design me? Or what is it all about design? So I'm now asking the question, why am I designing? You can ask me, why am I designing learning materials? You need learning materials. As a teacher, we cannot just go to the class and teach in abstract form. You go to the class with relevant instructional materials. And if you are to go to the class with relevant instructional materials, we cannot just go there and pick any materials. We need to design. All what you want to do, put it somewhere and see that they are relevant, they are good. Now, the another question is, what is the need for the design? What is the need for the design? After, let me give you an example now. The first thing is that I want to cook rice. That is the rice, that is your focus. Okay, what is the need for the design? What are the things, the ingredients that will make up to achieve these objectives? That is what is the need for the design. Now, the next one is production. After we've identified that design in some materials is very, very important. Oh, I want to produce maybe an aeroplane now. An aeroplane, what will come to you is which type of an aeroplane that you want to use. Is it real aeroplane? You want to bring real aeroplane to the class? Or you want to draw aeroplane? Or you want to have a kind of model, toy, that is toy of an aeroplane to the class? You have to yourself, some questions. Now, after you have got the answer to those questions, the production now. Ask yourself, which type of material do you need? Do I need to produce for this production? Now, I've said it. If it is going to be drawing, you want to draw an aeroplane, you need pencil, you need eraser, you need a cardboard, you need certain skill to draw it. You ask yourself, okay, who am I producing them for? Who am I producing them for? Because if you are not cognizant or take this question into consideration, you might get it wrong. That is why it is important. Who am I producing them for? Is it university students? Is it for secondary school students? Is it for primary school students? If you know, if you are familiar with primary school learning material, you see that there are a kind of a color or something that will be very attractive to the student. So you need to identify that, the type of student that you want to produce them. So if it is primary school, even you need to identify whether they are in primary 1 or primary 2 or primary 6, because their level of exposure and their age is different. So we need to identify that. Now, the next question is, can they use these materials? Can they use the materials? Whatever you want to take to the class, make sure they are usable. They are usable in the sense that students also have benefit of touching it, benefit of using it, benefit of asking them, go and touch it, pass it around, tell me what you have seen, tell me all kinds of things. So we cannot just go to the class with material and say, don't touch it. It's for students alone. It's all kinds of things. Why do you need to take it at first instance? To take it to the class at first instance. So can they use them? It's very, very important. Then the last one is, do I have the skills? This is very important. It is not necessary at times that you have 100% skill, but you should have certain skill. This one is very important. Like what if you are teaching in the classroom and you need to illustrate, you can take your chalk and illustrate on the wall for students to have better understanding. So you need to have certain skill. But in some situation, if you don't have that skill to produce the raw materials, you can engage graphic artists. The graphic artist can help you out. Are you getting me now? But all these things, they are very, very important. Now, what we also learn in this course is application. What we have in the design, what we have produced for students, how do we use them in the classroom? Are the product appropriate and relevant to the objective? Objective is that you want to teach a topic now, maybe a wild animal like that,